Microphone check, 1, 2. What is this? It's the 5'7" assassin in the podcast business. I am your host, Rohan Patra, the rap music plug at your service. The Rap Music Plug podcast presented by QLC TV is the remedy to the I don't have anything good to listen to problem. Through in-depth album and song reviews, as well as artist interviews and general rap commentary sprinkled in between on all of what the mainstream and underground rap scenes have to offer, this is your one-stop shop to knowing what to add to your queue, play next, or pop into your record player. Welcome to the show. What is up, family? Today, I am joined by a incredibly special guest by the name of Lukah, a multi-talented artist from Memphis, Tennessee that both raps and produces, who is the creator of one of the absolute best albums of the year in When the Black Hand Touches You. So getting hip to Lukah's music has honestly been one of the best things to happen to me in 2021, as Lukah is wise beyond his years, giving us lots of food for thought, along with a lyrical ability that is just absolutely top notch. So, Lukah, welcome to the show.
Man, appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me on, King. Appreciate
Man,
it, bro.
appreciate it. I appreciate you chopping it up with me. Like I said, finding your music was such like a jolt of energy to me. I was like, holy shit, how did I not hear about this guy? And I'm like, oh, you have a music from 2018. That's crazy. And that's good too. Like I was just listening to
Yeah, man.
Chickenwire in the shower just now. Like it's good
Thank
shit.
you so much, man. Thank you. It's been a long time coming. It's mad music before that, but Chickenwire was kind of the reinvention.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, thank you, bro.
Yeah, and I
Those are my
wanna
favorite two albums
yeah,
thus far that I've done. Yeah.
yeah. And I wanted to get into that right into how did you start making music? And since you are both a producer and a rapper, which aspect of the craft did you get into first?
It was the MCing aspect first. MCing is been in me since I was like maybe 7. Um, Moms will put me on DMX, Dr. Dre. You know what I mean? I'll go to school and hear groups like Crucial Conflict, and I'm like, yo, I want to do that. You know what I mean? So it started as a toddler, man, or a child. You know what I mean? But the producing came like, funny story. I was part of this group called Mic Runners.
Mm-hmm.
It was me, one of the homies back from the neighborhood named B-Mock at the time, and a guy you'll see me with and hear on his next project. Oh, he was on Chickenwire as well, Sonny Cats.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, that's my cousin. So we were part of this group, and in middle school, we couldn't find a person who produced beats. So finally, my pop, he had a friend who had a friend who was making beats on a PlayStation 3 or something like that. And
That's
he was making beats, and he gave us a disc. This is back in the days when everything was on discs. Um, he gave us a disc. We would pop it in and we'll start bumping it or whatever. So we wrote to the whole beat tape, and so we weren't supposed to do that. We even recorded to it because we thought the beats were just given to us. We know we had to like spend mad money at the time to
yeah.
use the beats and all of that. So we went through that. We went through that. And my cousin Sonny Cass, he was a good piano player. I took some piano lessons, but I wasn't as ill as he is. And so finally, man, he was just like, "Look, man, I heard about this Fruity Loop program, man. We can make our own beats." And we started making beats when we were like 11, 12, and it was up from there, man. But MCing first, then producing, for sure.
And so listening to your music and speaking to other people that I know have really come to love your music, Scarface is an artist that seems to come to mind when people hear your music. So I wanted to know, was he or anybody else in general key inspirations to your art?
Yeah, that's my second favorite MC. He's on my wall right there, along with
Word.
my top three. That's Nas, Pac, and Face back there. Nas being my number one, Face being my number two, Pac being number three. Um, my father put me on Face. That's my dad's favorite rapper. Um, I heard about him through Ghetto Boys, but my dad kind of like, you know what I'm saying, took me down the rabbit hole of to his catalog. You know what I mean? And I was just like, man, this cat's ill. You know what I'm saying? Um, Nas, my uncle from Chicago, he put me on Nas, man. And when I heard Nas, man, it kind of fucked me up. Oh, I can cuss on here, right?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
All right, cause just making sure. Yeah, Nas kind of fucked me up because it, I've heard Slick Rick, of course. You know what I mean? Slick Rick could paint a vivid picture, but the way Nas was doing it with his wordplay, and I don't know, man, I was just mind blown. You know what I mean? I was just like, I don't think it's going to be a cat that'll ever do it like him or better. You know what I mean? So, and Pac, my mom's kind of threw Pac in the mix. You know what I'm saying? So, mind you, I heard these cats when I was like between 8 and 10. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then I just fell in love immediately. Um, Face is the king of the South, man. I feel like he doesn't get his just due a lot of props like he should, but
Yeah.
he's the god of the South. Like he paved the way for people like me, you know what I mean, down south, you know. So big ups to that guy.
Yeah, I hear a lot of faith in you. I also hear it in different ways, but just that I think the key thing is that knowledge that real life puts you in a like a situation that maybe obviously like me I'm not familiar with, but gives you that emotion. Like I think a lot of rappers are really good at telling you stories that really interesting whatever, but it's very rare that people give you how it felt and like what it made them feel like in their mind and everything. And I think
Yeah,
that's what separates artists like you, Face, and also artists like Big Crit. I don't know. Are you a fan of Crit?
yeah, I fuck with Crit tough. I
Yeah,
like a lot
yeah,
of Crit's old stuff. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm a big fan of Crit for sure.
Word. So having sold out all of the vinyl for not only When the Black Hand Touches You, I know you put up Chickenwire on wax and that sold out very quick. So establishing a relationship with Fuck Rap, what has been the biggest key to your success cultivating such a dedicated audience so far?
It's word of mouth, man. Like, you know what I mean? Instead of my music being forced down your throat, people find it. It's almost like a gym. And then they tell their other friends, like, hey, I found this gym. And then it just keeps spreading, which is the way I like it. You know what I mean? Because that's how you like get those core fans that's gonna ride with you to the end. You know what I mean? So like it's basically, man, my recipe is word of mouth. That's how I've been maneuvering for a while. You know what I mean? And it's and the numbers on IG, you know what I mean, don't really tell the story. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
But there's people out there for sure that loved it. I mean, the vinyl sold out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From myself and from Fuck Rap. So man, it's just a sacred thing. You know what I mean? When you can find the gem, it's almost sacred, and it remains amongst the true heads. You know what I mean? The true heads. If it gets to the other people, I would love that too because I feel like I got something to say to them that they could, you know what I mean, vibe with or relate to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just word of mouth, man. You know what I mean? It'll eventually get around bigger.
Yeah,
Just
one
just
of the
gotta be patient.
Yeah. One of the things I noticed about a lot of like the recent Southern artists that I've come across, it seems like the South really reps its own more than even like I'd think other coasts. Maybe because those coasts get, because I'll just say it, I feel like people still have a stigma to this day of Southern artists and have a certain kind of what do you call it, stereotype. And I feel like I've always noticed that the Southern MCs have so much love from their hometown, and like I know your hometown's Memphis. Like, was it just a matter of being in the community too that people just really knew, got to know you, and just fuck with you on a personal level?
So to be honest, my city is kind of behind with me because of the style I do. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? I don't know if it's accepted, but it's not frontline accepted. You know what I mean? So which is cool. People will catch on. You know what I mean? But the underground scene respects it and loves it. I was around the underground community. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Versus like what the Pooh Shiesty and the mainstream community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So um yeah, man, the underground community for sure. You know what I'm saying? Shows mad love and support, but like it'll eventually get frontline. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it all. Memphis is like that. You know what I mean? It took A-Ball and MJG to go to Texas. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that's Tila. He went to Texas. You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to leave in order for the people to see you. I
Word.
didn't do that. I decided to stay and just work. You know what I'm saying? The hard way, which is cool. It'll pay out at the end.
Yeah, I'm always telling other people when I put you onto your music that I don't really have much doubt. I don't know where that end game will end up being, but I have no doubt that this won't just go downhill from here. It's only going to go up. So,
Thank
like
you,
I
fam.
see, like there's so many things that other fans that maybe don't care about Southern and music in any particular way, but just fuck with lyricism or even fuck with the sound. And that's actually my next thing I wanted to get into is linking up with Cities Aviv, fellow Memphis artist that, by the way, to those listening, released a ridiculous album just recently
Thanks.
that I'm totally
Classic.
fucking with, and it's very experimental and at left field. And I see that as a pretty important relationship for you because that left field sound certainly bleeds into your music as a frequent collaborator with him and leads to a sound that we just touched on is not consistent with what people stereotypically think Memphis sound is.
Mhm.
So how did you guys meet and how have you both been able to push each other to new creative heights?
But man, we met at a show. I don't know why we were on the same show. It was at a spot called a Smoking Caterpillar. It was an underground little hole in the wall performance spot. You know what I mean? And I saw him get off stage, and I was just looking like, damn, who is this guy? This dude's ill. You know what I mean? And then vice versa, I got off stage. It was kind of it was kind of a mutual thing. We walked up to each other. We like, yo, we need to work. He was like, bet I hit you back when I get from Mexico. I'm gonna be in Mexico. I'm like, all right, cool, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So it took like a week. I think he was going for a week. You know what I mean? Then he came back in town and hit me, and it was up from there. I mean, I was still in South Memphis. I was still in the old neighborhood, and my mom's was she came up. Her and my auntie came up with the money to put a studio in the attic. You know what I mean? Real poor man studio. And that's where me, people like Sunny Cats, you know what I mean? Cities of Eve, that's where we molded you know what I mean? Molded together
Mm-hmm.
and like molded the styles, you know what I mean? Like Cities of Eve had his own thing, you know what I mean? But I feel like when he came to South Memphis and we called it the attic sessions, you know what I mean? It was a different type of thing for him and it was a different type of thing for me to hang around a person like him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? A lot of people look at us and be like, yo, how do y'all coexist? I'm like, I mean, we the same person just from two different backgrounds. You know what I mean? If
Mm-hmm.
you listen to a lot of the shit that Gavin says, I say the exact same thing, just in a more way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Gavin is more like introspective. I'm introspective as well, but he's more like I can't describe that guy's style, but I know it when I hear it. You know what I mean? And me and him, we sit up and rap all the time. We just be like, yo, I feel the same way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I just
Yeah.
say it differently. He say it differently. That's all.
Yeah, I feel like he speaks in like he gives you moods and aesthetically it's different, but the end message is very like they're very connected and like part of the same
Exactly.
world. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my boy. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, us being together like just motivated us. I mean, we it's a lot of stuff that Gavin wants to say that he won't say, but I'll say it on my records and vice versa. So, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? It's kind of like what people would consider to be weird from him. You know what I'm saying? I would say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And vice versa, man. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that brought us that I feel like that tightened our bond because we were like, yo, I'll pick up. You know what I mean? You pick up, I pick up. Cause I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna say it. And I know you gonna say it. You know what I mean? and we just push each other, man. We always calling each other, spitting bars to each other, you know what I mean? Just like, yo, how this sound? You know what I mean? And just, all right, this going on the next project. Oh no, this need to go on the next one. You know what I mean? That's kind of how me and him maneuver, man. We just push each other all the time.
That's tight. That's tight. And so your production work, as well as the work from the producers like Cities Aviv, but also Hollow Soul or Hollow Soul. Like, tell me if I'm saying any of these names wrong, by the way.
Hollow Soul.
Hollow Soul. Okay, yeah. So
yeah, he's actually the one who engineered the whole project, mixed
yeah,
and mastered when the Black Hand.
word. And so you, along with them, your sound is very heavily laced by soul. A lot of elements of soul. So why do you think you're drawn to this sound so much?
Memphis, man. I mean, stacks. I mean, soul is enriched in our culture. It's embedded in our culture. You know what I mean? Like, um, I can't explain it, man. It's just embedded in the bloodstream. You know what I mean? And it's a specific type of soul. I don't know if you catch on to that. Most of my soul flips are dark, or I'll choose the dark. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So I'll choose Gavin's most dark sound. Gavin is Cities Aviv, by the way. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'll choose the most. I'll take the darkest sound. Like he'll send me a whole pack of beats, and I'm like, yeah, I want the darkest ones out of it. You know what I'm saying? So Memphis is a dark place, man. I mean, for Christ's sake, we're named after the city of the dead in Egypt. You know what I mean? Memphis. So, you know what I mean? It's a beautiful and ugly place. And I like to find beats that resemble that can be beautiful, but also ugly at the same time. So, so you can feel it in your soul. I want people to be able to feel it in their souls when they hear the music. Why not reach out? Why not dig into a soul crate? You know what I mean? To help deliver the message and get the point across. So
yeah, and I think it complements you well because it gives you that soul, gives you that warmth, but also, especially with your lyrics, you give that edge, that real, that really just hits you on so many different levels. Like you can listen to it, really get into the lyrics, really understand what you're saying, and go down that rabbit hole, or you can kind of like passively or just listen to it aesthetically, and it gives you like a different vibe almost, which I really like. How did the creation of When the Black Hand differ from Chickenwire, your previous album?
Well, Chickenwire was recorded in my great grandfather's workshop. He passed years ago. It was filled with tools, sharp objects. You know what I mean? We were just, and then I was just coming back from, I was staying in LA for almost a year. Didn't have any luck out there. Kind of was pissed off that I had to come back. So Gavin was overseas. He was touring at the time, Cities Aviv. And we would get on the phone, you know what I mean? And he'll rap like, yo, why you come back or whatever. And started giving them little details about it. And I mean, he just said, he was like, you know what, fuck that shit. When I get back, we gonna make a whole album. I mean, cool. So, you know what I mean? He came back, set up shop in the workshop. I mean, that Chickenwire was more of a, I got a chip on my shoulder from LA type of album. You know what I mean? I was really trying to find myself again. You know what I mean? So I was kind of like letting loose on that album, which I mean, if you really listen, it does hit specific points, but to a person who's just like listening from another standpoint, it might just sound like I'm just rhyming. You know what I mean? But it really was a lot of detail and a lot of thought behind Chickenwire and why I was saying the things I was saying. Mostly it was to release. You know what I mean? So When the Black Hand Touches You was kind of more formulated. You know what I mean? Chickenwire had a formula, but this one, like, my son was born. So, you know what I mean? He was born and I was just like, yo, I want to leave a blueprint. I got to start leaving blueprints. So When the Black Hand Touches You kind of formed into like a blueprint, like something my son and his future siblings, you know what I mean, and his grandchildren will be able to listen to, and they'll be able to heal the world's ills and how their father, their grandfather saw it. So it's kind of more touching. When the Black Hand Touches You was a very sentimental, you know what I mean, blueprint kind of album. That's the difference.
And you mentioned your son. How did that impact you kind of like your worldview or how you like looked at things? Did it change you significantly anywhere? Or did it kind of just change your purpose in a way that you're like you said, you really want to lay that blueprint out for him?
Well, I feel like when a person has a child, it should change them automatically. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things you have to change about yourself in order for that child to succeed. You know what I mean? So there's still a few demons that I got to fight so my son can have a righteous path. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So I'm continuing to change. You know what I mean? Um, Becoming a stronger man, a better man. I'm starting to see things a lot clearer now that he's here because I'm setting up everything for him. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
I got to maneuver a little different because it's not just about me or about me and his mama. You know what I mean? Like it's about him. You know what I mean? Because we got to break change, man. My culture, we got to break chains. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? We got to break the passed down behaviors, man. So I'm kind of in the process of shaping my life so it can be better for him in the future. So that's why I'm at with it.
That's great to hear. And what I love so much about this latest project is that it really felt like every song had a purpose, it had a direction, maybe even a concept. And a lot of When the Black Hand Touches You reads to me like you're dropping knowledge, illustrating stories to teach people something. So, what were some of those life lessons or messages that you were hoping to communicate throughout this album?
That kind of, you know what I'm saying? When I peeped that question was kind of hard to answer just because I want people to take a million things away from the project because there's a million things in it. You know what I mean? But if I had to choose something, it would be you can make it out. You know what I mean? You can make it out and you can celebrate that. Regardless of all the ills you've been through, you know what I mean? You can make it out. You know what I mean? From from anything, it's possible. You know what I mean? The sky is not the limit. You can make it out, you can succeed, you can better yourself, you can gain knowledge of yourself. You know what I mean? You can always become smarter. If you want to get out of the certain circumstances that you're in, it's possible. You know what I mean? My friends and I, we're living proof. People that aren't my friends, like associates, you know what I mean? There are people that I know living proof that it's possible. So that would be something that I want, like, not to single anybody out, but specifically like Black kids who will eventually, you know what I mean, gravitate towards my music. When they hear it, those kids that are in those circumstances that are unfortunate, you can hear this and you can get out. It's possible. Trust me. Regardless of what you got to do it, you can get out. It's all about this. You know what I mean? I want them to know that as well. So
Yeah, I think you really got that message across in the music. I really felt that. Um, when I first came across the album, the first thing that jumped out to me was the title, "When the Black Hand Touches You." It's quite a weighty title. It makes me think of so many things even before I even listened to it. So, can you speak to what the meaning of that title actually is?
well, it was simple for me. It became deeper over time as I got into the album. Um, I just got inspired after my son touched me, man, in the hospital. When the black hand touches you, this is what you get. When my son hand touches you, that just so happens to be a black hand, this is what you get. And that, you know what I'm saying, for the project. Eventually, I started writing, becoming deeper into the actual title, and I was just like, I'm taking things that I've learned from specific people in my family who touched me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? This is what happens when you're supported or not supported. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's hard for me to explain, but I know what it means. But like, I've gotten, there's been a lot of people that, you know what I mean, who have shared what they think it meant. You know what I mean? Some crazy shit too. But for me, man, it was about my son and about family. This is what happens when you get touched. You know what I mean? Here's that art right here. That's kind of how I came at it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. On both of your last projects, obviously you produced and rapped on a lot of it. So I'm wondering how at all if it differs when you're rapping on a track that someone else produced or versus rapping on a track that you actually produce yourself? Does it like come out differently? Do you feel like you rap differently, or the results are different when you're doing both?
No, not really. The beat drives the topic for me. Like so, take for instance, Maroon Floors. I'm lyrical on it, but I'm not as lyrical as maybe like Daydreaming or Black Cayenne. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's not a different approach. It's just a different feeling I want to give off. You know what I mean? Like Maroon Floors is a celebratory track. We made it out, fam. You'll hear a lot of those from me. Why not celebrate it? You know what I mean? It's not really different, man. It's not a different approach. It's just a different, I guess I'll say, delivery of how I bring it to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Word. Um, so one of the most impactful parts of your music is the subject matter. So, you're not like 50 years old. You're still a young adult. So I wanted to understand, like, where did you develop this consciousness, this knowledge of self, like you said earlier? Because was probably the most striking thing about the album once I really started to listen, was just like there's so many jewels being dropped like non-stop, track after track. So what life experiences influence you to have this sort of worldview?
Well, of course, in the old neighborhood and outside the neighborhood and different neighborhoods, you go through ills. You know what I mean? We're not gonna speak too much on them, but you know what I mean? That shaped that also. But you have the negative, but you have the positive side too. I had a strong foundation. Even though my mom's had us in that neighborhood, she created a beautiful home. You know what I mean? I some like there'll be times that I'm in the house and not even feel like I'm in South Memphis. You know what I mean? So like my great grandmother, man, she's an activist in the city. So you know what I mean? She's huge on words, you know what I mean? And power and all of that. She endured a lot of that past shit that happened to our ancestors, you know what I mean? So it just it was always, I'm not gonna say preached, it was always talked about in my household. The world's ills, knowledge, um, self-awareness, you know what I mean? Um, power, being positive, you know what I mean? Doing unto others as you want done unto yourself. You know what I mean? It was just like I said about the soul earlier, man. It was just embedded. You know what I mean? Regardless of any ignorance that I've done, I mean, it's just there, bro. You know what I mean? Regardless
Hmm.
of what a person can do, you know what I mean? When you go, you still gotta go home. You know what I mean? You can do anything you want to do, you know what I'm saying, that your moms don't see that you're doing, or your dad or whoever you're staying with, you know what I mean? They don't know what you're doing, but you still gotta go home. And that's the foundation. You know what I mean? It's the place of peace. You know what I mean? It's the place where you are most vulnerable. You know what I mean? So of course you had the negative side, you know what I mean? But I also had the foundation too.
Or And on that topic, you have this track "Virus" along with but many other tracks on this album that really talk about like the effects of things like the war on drugs and life in these communities that have been so deprived by the not having the proper resources. So could you try and shed some light on what you believe the system has done to these communities, and how was it like growing up, and how is it like growing up in these environments?
Well, as a child, you really don't know, you know what I mean? Until you start tapping in or touching that water, or like we like to say, jumping off the porch. You know what I mean? As I got older, I started looking back and recognizing that the system really put a lot of fear in the community. You know what I mean? The fear of wanting better. People are scared to want better, like
Wow.
it's something wrong. You know what I mean? To want better for yourselves or to better yourselves. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, take the drugs for, I mean, the drugs were pushed into the community for a reason. You know what I mean? And it just passed down generation after generation after generation. And now, instead of um, going after what's better, we become okay with little. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying? So the system, the system is fucked up. But what's even more fucked up is that, yeah, they don't have, they don't give us, they don't provide the resources, but the resources are there. And a lot of us know that, but there's a fear of knowing. You know what I mean? We'd rather believe, you know what I'm saying, instead of actually knowing why something is. Or, you know what I mean, why the next project, man. You know what I mean? I touch on a lot of this. You know what I'm saying? It's already complete. It's in the mix and master right now. So but yeah, man, fear. They brought a lot of fear, or whatever the system is, if it's not just people, if it's a thing, you know what I mean? It bred fear. You know what I mean? And now we're passing it down to the youth. So when there's fear, we act out. You know what I mean? Because I mean, in the neighborhood, fear is almost like it's a bad thing, but there's different type of fears, man. There's a fear like, oh my God, I gotta protect myself type of fear. But then there's a fear where you just sit back and don't give a fuck about nothing because that's basically what you were taught. You know what I mean? So fear would be fear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fear would be the thing.
Very well said.
I hope that answered your question,
No,
man.
that I really like the way you put that. I think that was really powerful. On the topic of these structural problems, just a few days before recording this, a very notable thing happened, obviously. Derek Chauvin, the cop who murdered George Floyd, found guilty on all charges. So, how did that verdict make you feel? And do you think this really means anything? Like, do you think this is going to lead to any real change in the grand scheme of things, or is it an isolated incident?
Nah, man. I mean, it's still gonna happen, man. I'm happy about it. It made me feel relief and finally, you know what I mean? That was kind of the feeling. Finally, about time, you know what I mean? But I don't think it's gonna be any real change because we are going to have to be the ones to cause that change. You know what I mean? And we can't expect people to change. We have to change. We can't expect somebody else to change on our behalf. We have to change, man. You know what I mean? However they may look. You know what I mean? Um, they're gonna continue to do what they want to do. They're gonna continue to get off. They're gonna continue to well, I get put fear. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's where the fear comes in. I mean, they have a mission. I just feel like we as the people should start our mission. You know what I mean? They have a mission. All right, well, let's formulate our mission. You know what I mean? How are we gonna protect these kids? You know what I mean? How? We need those questions asked. I mean, I don't even have the right question. I have a child. I'm still trying to find the answer. So I'm with my people. You know what I mean? With not knowing. I don't think it'll change, man. I mean, I think I want it to change. You know what I mean? Let's not get it twisted. But to be honest, I mean, it's been going on for years. Why stop now? Just
Yeah.
because that, you know what I mean? It is what it is, man. We just got to keep moving and learning. Learning is the key, man. Learning from these incidents, learning from these situations, learning from the past, man, and just move differently. And I know people, I've had conversations where like, yo, we are trying to move different. There's a difference between trying and doing. I'm not taking away from anybody's efforts because I try a lot of shit too, instead of doing. But I realize there's a difference in between trying and doing. You know what I mean? We got to do that shit. Fuck trying. You know what I mean? We got to stand 10 toes down in the pavement. You know what I mean? And we got to make some shit happen because it's all about the next generation. I don't want my son to have to go through no shit like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very frightening. That's their fear word. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, yeah, I feel very similarly. Like I'm glad it happened, but like I see all these things on social media, people are having like parades. It's like we do have to understand this was the most blatant example with video with not only that, a guy that has like a documented history of brutality that's like in the tens of 20s instance documented even. So I mean, yeah,
Well,
he got it convicted, but that was all of that was needed to get that happening, which is says something.
the parades are needed though.
You
You know what I
think?
mean? Yeah. Oh hell yeah. You know what I mean? We have to celebrate small wins. It
Mm,
makes us want the bigger wins. You know what I mean? So parades are needed, just like mourning is needed. When it happened, the country
yeah,
mourned. You know what I mean? It took a fucking long time. You know what I mean? But in the sense, we won now. Celebrate that. After we celebrate, let's keep working. You know what I mean? That's how
hmm
you keep your employee. I mean, this might be a fucked up way to put it, but in order to keep your employees happy, you have to do incentives like throw parties. You know what I'm saying?
No, man, you're
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
this is exactly what I was
yeah.
thinking. You actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because yeah, I think I didn't phrase that properly because I actually was talking to I don't know who, some random on Twitter or whatever, but I think it was some kind of in like the context of like activism and things like that. Someone was saying something kind of along the lines of what I just said, which is like, why are we happy? Like this doesn't mean anything. And another guy said like it's done, it's don't be foolish and think everything changed, but to your point, like sometimes you need the some sense of hope, finally give people something to power them through. And it is like that business context too, like you have to celebrate the small wins. It's almost like a staple in any good business. You can't just
Exactly.
celebrate once you hit $1 million and shit like that. You have to
Yeah,
celebrate when you hit 100, like
exactly.
going.
Yeah, facts.
And so, what I really appreciate about your content, and we kind of touched on it a bit when we talked about Scarface and some of your influences, is that you really allow us to be in your shoes in this environment and see how it impacts you emotionally. And you touch on, various forms of kind of trauma, paranoia, betrayal, uh, and like you said, you'd say a million things. So sometimes it's all on one track. So how do you think that like your upbringing affected you, and how were you able to persevere with not only your integrity but your mental health intact?
It goes back to that foundation, man. I mean, a lot of a lot of a lot of peers of mine, you know what I mean, a lot of associates, a lot of friends didn't have what I had when I went home. Some kids didn't have homes. You know what I mean? So anything that I went through that would be considered trauma, I always had to go home. Even though I might have had trauma inside the home, it's still home. You know what I mean? A lot of that home helped me a lot, man. I mean, you know what I mean? Like my mom's knew the area. She knew certain things she was not gonna be able to keep me from. You know what I mean? Because of the neighborhood we were in. But I still got both sides of the spectrum. You know what I mean? I got the world's ills, but I got the world's knowledge too. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I pushed through it, man. And I was determined. A person has to really want better for themselves. I mean, it goes back to what we were just talking about. I was super determined. Like I'm like, yo, I'll step out here every now and then, you know what I mean, get into some dumb shit, but I gotta go home. You know what I mean? I gotta make it home because I knew eventually I wanted a wife like I have right now. I knew eventually I wanted kids. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna do this. That's kind of how my attitude was. You know what I mean? It's kind of like what's the guy from Batman, Two Face? You know what I mean? The fucked up side and the you know what I mean the good side. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I maneuver through life. I still maneuver like that. You know what I mean? Because I feel like once you have best of both worlds, you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I approach life. Like I said, right now, I still go through it. Um, what's crazy is I'm trying to see how I'm gonna give that both side knowledge to my son because I don't want him to be in the old neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
it's kind of hard, but I was always told, yo, if you have book knowledge, you have some street knowledge, man, you're an unstoppable force. You know what I mean? So foundation, man, and the want to want better and the determination is how I got through all my shit.
And the way you said it, that's such an interesting point, because obviously going through all of that gave you that knowledge, and then as well as the book knowledge, like you said, and that's powerful. But like you said, it's not something you want your son to have to go through. So how do you give
Yeah,
him that knowledge without, making him go through that shit? So that's like
exactly.
it's $1 million question right there.
That's
Um,
but see, I found out I could give it to him through music, which goes back to saying I want to lay out a blueprint.
mm,
Like take the song, not Ghosts, Black Coffins.
yeah, shit, it's a crazy track.
I I was describing death. My son can listen to that and be like, yo, I don't want to go through that shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't want to see that shit. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want the kids to take from it. You know what I mean? If we can go back to the earlier question, like when you hear a song like Black Coffins, I'm describing death and why it happened, and you know what I mean. Towards the end, I start giving small history lessons on why this may be. You know what I mean? I want them to look at that song or hear that song and look at that picture that I'm painting and being like, that's a little creepy. I might need to stay on this side. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with it, man.
Yeah, and I think even from people who are privileged to not even have to have that kind of, like, I guess, decision
Exactly.
point, it still gives them a lot of empathy, man. Like hearing this, you
Exactly.
don't need to know anything, and you listen to this album, and you're like, like shit. I don't ever want to be in that position. I can sympathize with someone who has to kind of put in there, because I find like so many times people speak about all this shit, and I'm like, you're acting like you do different. Like you're acting like this is so easy. Like I don't even get it. Like, I think people just lack empathy in so many ways in today's society. And I think music like what you make really, really allows people to kind of see both sides and connect, really.
Some people weren't taught to like show empathy either. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Um, like I said, everything is a passed down behavior. Everything. You know what I mean? So I used to feel like that, like yo, people don't show empathy, people don't understand and all of that. But then as I'm getting older, I'm just like, I mean, these people genuinely don't fucking know. I mean, they
mm.
probably weren't taught to like give a fuck. When you hear the next album, man, I talk about a lot of that, man. You know what I mean? I know, I'm sure you're gonna ask about it, but you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, I talk about a lot of that shit.
Word. Yeah. I definitely will. You keep hinting at it. I'm getting very excited. But before we get into that, I wanted to shift gears to just talk about the rap game in general. And so seeing artists like you, and like I feel like so many artists are just putting out such quality music these days. So in my opinion, I think hip hop is thriving, and but I want to get your thoughts. Like, do you think music is currently, really in a good spot, or do you think it's on the decline, like I know a lot of people do think?
I never thought hip hop was on the decline. I never thought hip hop was dead. No disrespect to the GOAT. I just thought, I mean, shit moves on, shit gets bigger. Um, it's no longer just in New York.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people I judge can't get with that. But my thing is, I think it's in a beautiful place. I mean, I don't just listen to boom bap like people may think. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I love Memphis rap. You know, I'm from fucking Memphis. I grew up on 3 6 Mafia, Project Pat, Player Fly, one of my favorite rappers. I think it's in a beautiful spot. I mean, you have both sides of you got, I'm gonna say, you got 4 sides of the coin. Well, not coin. You got 4 sides. You got north, east, west, south. You know what I mean? You got everybody got something to say different. You know what I mean? So I think it's on the up and up, man. I think it's making a full circle because the boom bap, and that soul shit is starting to make its way back full
Yeah.
force. You know what I mean? So I think it's beautiful. And what's dope is you can see something like Benny the Butcher and Lil Durk. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
those are two different worlds. You know what I mean? But it's beautiful to see them come together and try to do something special for the culture. You know what I mean? It's all about, you know what I'm saying, making sure the culture continues to thrive, man. You know what I mean? I never thought it was on the decline. I might not like a lot of the shit, but you know what I mean? It doesn't mean just because I dislike it or somebody else dislikes it that it's on the decline, because there's some motherfuckers out there that love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel it's about taste. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's about what you want to listen to, who you want to listen to. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, it's the consumer's decision. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna hip hop is gonna continue to be the biggest genre because it continues to grow. It continues to add different shit to it. A lot of the shit we may not agree with. Me personally, it's a lot of shit I don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I mean? It's art, and I'm not gonna knock somebody's art. You know what I mean? It's art. Yo, that's your art. That's your truth. That's how you feel. I'm glad you got this shit out. I hope it. You know what I mean? Better. I hope it made you a better person, or a better father, a better business person, whatever you may be, or the reason why you put out their art. I hope it helped you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am with the hip hop game.
Yeah, I think rap like it's the most popular genre, so it's the new pop. And
Yeah.
a lot of genres have gone through this kind of transition. Like rock music was the it shit. Except I think it is a lot of like rock fans. Like I listen to a lot of rock too. Like they think it's not in a good place right now. And I think a big reason is because it didn't really evolve. It went through some crazy whacked out shit in the 70s, 80s when people were just doing a bunch of drugs, and you got some great music. And then after, it just kind of started to become the same, and rap has refused
Facts.
to do that. And that's like, if
Yeah.
you're going to evolve, you're going to thrive, and you're going to continue to work. But that does mean I feel like the amount of trash is much higher, but that's because the amount of music's higher. And like, who cares? I don't need to
It's
listen to that shit. And there's a lot of
it's
things
no
that I don't think I like, but I know other people like, and I respect that, you know?
exactly. I just feel like hip hop, you know what I mean, like you said, is more pop now, but that would be something I don't like because it's no longer like sacred. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Hip hop was sacred at one point. I know when I heard it, I thought it was like, God damn, this is for me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? That if I could change something, I would allow people to keep all of your money in your change and your chains and all of the, you know what I mean? Keep all of that shit. Keep the stages. You know what I mean? I would just like still make it sacred. You know what I mean? Like I feel like everybody can do it now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that shit. You know what I mean? Like Busta Rhymes said it. Like me and Cities Aviv, we were tripping off these songs like a day ago. Matter of fact, yesterday Busta Rhymes said it on When Disaster Strikes. He was like, "So you can be something. Quit trying to work so fucking hard towards nothing. This rhyme shit was never designed for every swollen muffin." You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I feel when
Mm-hmm.
I hear certain rappers. You know what I mean? I just be like, why? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like I wish the auditions were still going on instead of like, oh, he has the most followers. Let's put him on. That's a money cow. You know what I mean? Like we can get dough out for that. Instead of like actually taking the time out to understand the MC and the skills and why those skills were born and brought to you that way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that part of the hip hop shit is gone. You know what I mean? Like nobody cares about the actual skill anymore. It's about a buck, which is cool. I'm happy for anybody who makes it out of their situations and can provide for their family and do better. But I still want to hear skill. That's just me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think, yeah, like there's a ton of MCs right now and artists that just don't care about rap. They just want to make money and then leave. And
Yeah.
that's the shit that
Yeah.
sucks. And that is definitely like, there's obviously negatives to the current rap game, and the money part being like the root of almost all of it, to be honest. Um,
Yeah.
that's why I just hope, like, and I think that's related to the journalism side too of it, and like the like before, I think there was other issues, like there was like gatekeepers and shit. Now everybody can make music and be discovered. That's potentially like all great, but that leads to a bunch of people that just get popular, like you said, just because they have a bunch of followers. And it's not about people
Mm-hmm.
kind of getting vetted and being like, yo, like this guy has mad skill. He's got a real message, got a real like something, some it factor, some creativity. And that's why I hope like music journalism too is a big reason, because they are also a business and they're just starting to just do
Yeah,
clickbait shit, and that's just
facts.
unfortunate.
It's becoming about views more than the actual art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean, and that goes to it goes deeper than that too. It's the people who control us. You know what I'm saying? The fucking rap game. You know what I mean? People want to like um push drugs. I mean, like the kids can't like really touch. I mean, they can touch the drugs now, but it wasn't like it was in the epidemic. You know what I mean? Like, so why not push it through rap? Why not pop pills? Like, yo, we gonna pop pills. Why not preach that shit through the rap? You know what I mean? The kids are eating it up. You know what I mean?
Mm.
When back in the day, you could have a Scarface or Ghetto Boys talking about, you know what I mean, they had sex with the corpse before I left her. You know what I mean? And then you'll fuck around and turn around and hear Common. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It was more of a balance. I feel like there's
Yeah.
no balance. You know what I mean? So it's a reason for that shit too. You know what I mean? But that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, shit crazy, man.
Yeah. So who would you say is a dream producer that you would love to link up with and create an album with?
I just gotta pick one.
Pick, okay, 1 to 2, max two. Max
All
two.
right. Shit. RZA.
Yeah.
Only built for Cuban links, Jizza. I mean, only built for Cuban links, Liquid Swords, 36 Chambers, RZA. Iron Man RZA. You know what I mean? That RZA.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to link up and be like, yo, RZA, can we go visit that chamber again? Yeah, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Him and I would have to say Mike Dean and N.O. Joe. I mean, I know you said two, but
Yeah.
those cats used to produce together for the Ghetto Boys and shit like
Mm-hmm.
that. You know what I mean? Like, um, and but then there's Alchemist. You know what I mean? But yeah, but I would go with Joe, Mike Dean, and RZA.
Yeah, Mike Dean, I think all those are great choices. Mike Dean, man, he's a genius. He can do
Right.
literally anything, and he can play like every instrument. Like I always say,
Exactly.
he's like the unsung hero of like the peak of Kanye, because he was
Yeah.
always co-producing, playing a lot of those instruments. I saw Kanye live, and Mike Dean was just in the shadow, like playing electric guitar, doing the whole DJ set. It was fucking wild. Like that guy's
Hell yeah.
amazing. He's all for the music. I really like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, okay, so for the most part, you've been the sole voice on your albums, like very, very few features and things like that. So, who would be a rapper that you would love to share the mic with on a future track?
Right now or just like period?
I'd say right now. Let's say right now.
I mean, I wanna spar with the head niggas like Kendrick, Conway, Freddie. I wanna bar with, and I genuinely like those cats. Like I love their fucking music. They're like in my top five. But like whoever people consider the top five MCs, that's who I want to spar with
Mm-hmm.
because I got a point to prove. You know what I mean? I can hang with them. I can beat them. You know what I
Yo,
mean?
you
So
and Freddie, I
yeah,
feel like that would be a fucking great mix.
yeah, facts.
That'd
So
be crazy.
yeah, man. Whoever, like I got a GXFR feature on the next album.
What? Oh
Yeah,
shit. Yo, okay,
it co-
okay.
it comes out May 21st.
Oh my
I
god.
I sent
Is that
I
the
send
album or
you
the
on.
single?
That's the single. I'll send you a private listen and then me and you can chop up about it.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
be very privileged. Okay, before we
yeah.
get into that, my last thing, just because I always feel like we gotta take any chance to give anybody shine that maybe deserves it. So, who's an artist that you really fuck with that maybe isn't like in the mainstream right now or isn't being as talked about as much, but you really think they should?
Sonny Cats. Sonny Cats is fucking ill. I mean, he's in the process of reinventing his shit and putting it back out. You got the legends here. IMC. people like Jason the Hater and Milk. I'm gonna put you on those cats too.
Yeah. Send me some
They
links.
kind of paved the way for like cats like me and Cities Aviv to like do those type of underground show. A lot of people don't know it's a fucking dead serious like underground scene in Memphis, man. Like cats who are just like strictly like boom bap. You know what I mean? It's a real deal underground scene. I mean, I heard stories like it was kind of niggas was fighting, snatching mics out of hands. It was like that. You know what I mean? It's a real deal underground scene. Let's see. The homie Saint Courts, he's on my album. You know what I mean? The little homie Blue Levies, he's a cat that I think people should tune in. He's ill as hell, and he's gonna continue to get iller. These are a whole bunch of cats I could put you on. I mean, then I'm sure you, if you fuck with it, you'll put it on your shit. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
definitely.
There's a it's a lot of MCs in Memphis. Too many to name. You know what I mean? So Cities Aviv, I'm glad you know what I'm saying, you tuned in to Cities Aviv, even though Cities Aviv he been popping. You
Yeah,
know what
he's
I mean?
been.
So yeah. But I'm glad that you decided to take a look at him after tuning into my shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm trying to see. Shit, man, it's a lot of them, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It's a lot of them.
I'm really excited that there's some new artists to check out from that scene
Yeah,
because that it was Cities that really like turned a light bulb on for me because I was like I assumed if I hadn't heard him he was maybe new and I was like he's been making music for so long.
yeah,
How did I not come across this? Because this shit's right up my alley. I pretty much like every kind of hip hop and rap, but I definitely like some experimental shit, like some really weird shit. And Cities goes in so many places. He can like it's hard to even explain, but that
yeah.
like
He's a
tuning in,
genius, man.
he's a genius, man. And that I think his
Yeah.
latest album is I think I'm probably gonna review it. I think it's his best that I've heard because I've been going crazy in his catalog over the past like few months.
The
Um
crashing sound of how it goes is my favorite project. I mean, I was around during the making of it. You know what I mean? Um, he would like I said, he would call me. I mean, I practically heard every verse on there a cappella before it hit the beat. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. I knew when he was writing it, you know what I mean? Cause like me and him, we would have talks and I'd just be like, yo, Gav, bro, man, sit down, bro, and actually pen that shit again. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? We would have like conversations I ain't gonna go too deep into, but I was just like, bro, this the one, bro. You know what I mean?
mhm,
I was like, this shit classic. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you actually saying some shit. You know what I mean? He's always saying some shit regardless, but I'm saying like he kind of put it in a different way right now. He's actually like I told him, I'm like, bro, I don't even know where you are right now, honestly. You know what I mean? Like that's what I tell him. I was like, bro, it's like you took when the black hand touches you and just fucking all right, like Lukah started this. I'm gonna take that and just you know what I mean? I tell him that
Yeah.
they because if you me and him were talking about it, I was like, bro, if you listen to him, he's kind of like picking up from where I stopped. You know
Yeah.
what I
I can
mean?
see that.
You know what I'm saying? So like and then the project that I have now is kind of like taking both of those projects because he's featured on it. We actually have like a 9-minute song that's the outro.
Wow.
Just straight, just exchanging bars. You know what I mean? It kind of like takes both of those albums and just put them together and just take it off and take it off more. You know what I mean? Take it up more. I mean, you know what I mean? So we got a lot of shit in the works, man, and it's beautiful, man. And that album that he just dropped is a fucking classic. It's not just a Memphis classic; it's a classic. I wanted to go on record that joint is one of the illest projects ever created, and I'm not just saying that because that's my homie. You know what I mean? Like I love that fucking project.
No, it's
You know what I'm
unbelievable.
saying?
Like you're featured on that track, and like the crazy thing for me about that album is the variety, but it just all flows like fucking water, and I don't it shouldn't work. And I also think you're saying about his lyrics is that I feel like this one was like lyrically, this one was really noticeably like just like on another level, like compared to what I've
Yeah.
previously heard from him. Like I really like what he did. Okay, so we've been talking about it a lot. So what do you have upcoming? I think you said the album's coming May 21st. Is that what you said?
No. The single
The
drops May
single. Okay.
21st. We're looking at late summer for the actual release. But
Word.
yeah, I mean, I'm not big on features like you said earlier, but I decided that like, yo, in order to tell this story a little bit more, I need to bring some more people on. So because like I said, when we was talking about the elevation of the game and whether it was, you know what I'm saying, on an incline or you know what I mean, like I want to hear how a person gonna flip it from their side. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So yeah, man, I got that GXFR feature. It's a dope ass fucking feature. Um, I got a cat. I don't know. I'm sure you're familiar with him, but he he's done shit with GXFR. He's on there as well. So you
Okay.
know what I mean. Then I got Sunny Cats shows up again. Of course, Cities Aviv. I got the homie Saint Courts on there. He's a Memphis MC, and it's a dope project, man. This project kind of like um, I brought the kicks and snares back. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So shout out to the producer who produced the entire project,
So as a solo producer.
Walls.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so out of 100%, like he produced 95%. The other 5% goes to the Australian homie SB11. You know what I mean? He put like three tracks on there, but
Mm.
majority of everything else goes to the homie Walls. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We even reached out to an established master mix engineer to help bring it to life. You know what I mean? So they're working on Hollow. A lot of people don't know about Hollow, man. I'm gonna
Yo,
let you reach
man.
out to Hollow. I'm gonna let you reach out to Hollow yourself. Hollow is more than meets the eye, man. He's really like the guy under the guy in Memphis that does the mixing and mastering for everybody. So you know, what
I
I mean, I
fuck
ain't
with
gonna put
that.
his business out. I'm not gonna put his business out there like that. And the other guy that we reached out to, he's actually real close to Gotti, who's gonna be, you know what I mean,
Mm.
mastering the project and shit. So all of that should have come when the album drops. I'll start dropping his name and all of that. You know what I mean? But like it's 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 my best project yet.
Damn.
That's how I
It
feel.
sounds like it's gonna be a like. Is it like a change of pace? Like, is it a little different? Because the sound, the way you're describing the sound, does seem like it'll be pretty different.
Oh yeah, it's polished but not too polished. I I mean the essence of me is still there for sure. It's just not. I took, say for instance, you took those loops and you added snares and kicks,
Mm-hmm.
basically. You know what I mean? And then you add a different storyline to it because this album, I'm really like more introspective on this album. I tell certain stories I've never told on albums. Um, the album is really, if I could sum it up, how I would put it to you, it's an angry album for sure.
Mm.
It's an angry album, but it's almost like this is the anger. This happened to me. This happened to me. This is why I'm so angry. But during this anger, I still know this is the. I still talk about, yo, I know why I'm angry. How do I get out of this? You know what I mean? It's kind of more. The album is more about me when the black hand touches you was more kind of just leaving a blueprint, talking about certain situations for my son. You know what I mean? So this album is really a reflection of me.
Mm.
Um, you know what I mean? I'll tell you the title when we get off, and
Yeah,
it'll kind of put it in perspective for you. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's the dopest shit I've ever done. I
man.
feel like
That
so.
sounds like it's very therapeutic, is if it were based on how you're describing it for you.
Yeah,
So that's beautiful, man.
yeah.
Okay, that I think I'll wrap it here. This has been such a great conversation, man. Like I'm happy that you as a person, like it seems very authentic to what I heard on Wax. So thank you for stopping by and just yeah,
No
I
problem
really
with
think
them.
everybody's gotta check out your music. It's gonna fucking wow you. I will say that.
Thank you, family. Thank you, brother. Yeah, man. Anytime, bro. I'll come back anytime, and I fuck with what you're doing, bro. You dope at it. I told you and you know what I mean, in the DM, I was like, yo, you ill at what you do, man.
I
And I
appreciate that, man.
I don't think I told you, but I appreciate your review on the album. You know what I mean? On the When the Black Hand Touches You. You know what I mean? I take what everybody say and I try to see it from their standpoint. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? People who review the album, you know what I mean? So I appreciate you because I did look at some shit differently because of what you said. You know what I mean? So thank you for reviewing the project and thank you for having me on here, God, for real.
Bro, man, that thing. Thank you. That really that feedback really keeps me going. Like, thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, no doubt, brother.
Word. All right, man. Take care. It's great talking to
All
you.
right, family.
We'll talk soon.
All right, peace.
Peace.